What's going on YouTube? This is Deke back with another Sorare video. Today we're going to talk about the Prem, so the English Premier League. While there aren't a ton of cards on here, as we don't have the license still, hopefully we'll get the license soon. What I want to take a look at is from game week 1, certain players that caught my eye and are very interesting. So I'm going to do a couple high-end, a couple mid-range, and then a value guy that in terms of pricing, I kind of went with the limited pricing. Some players only have rares. Liverpool was minted as a team. You'll never walk alone. He has all of them. So I'm just going to take a look. As you can see here, this is just the player rankings behind. Martinez went to Man U. He started. He played pretty well. So you can kind of just take a look at here. I don't believe I have any of the players on this list from this, but we'll take a look at each player. So at our high end, we're going to start with Kulasebski from Tottenham. So I really am high on Tottenham this year. I have them projected as number 3 behind Man City and Liverpool as my top 3. I really think they are much improved, and I think they're going to see a nice kind of bounce and a continuation from last season. So Kulasebski, I was high on him before, especially with that under 23. Makes him a little bit more expensive. So his floor price is 0.26. His average is about 0.23. Great game. When was that? Late May. So I was in on him a little bit earlier. I'm kind of getting to the point where, is this a sell now after that performance, as we had a nice little spike here? You know, I don't know. At the time being, I'm keeping him because I think he's a good asset at the limited level. But you can start getting to some nice rares. I'm saving up for a rare keeper. So maybe if I sell him and a couple others, you know, I'll get enough to have another rare keeper. Because the MLS season is coming to an end, so I do kind of want to run at least 2 rare teams, if not maybe 3 in the future. So if we take a look at his scores, some great scores, especially at the end of last season. Let's just take a look at in which he started. And, you know, he had a couple low games here, but look at these last 5. Unbelievable. You know, he had a goal and an assist, and he is just on fire. The next game week, they play Chelsea on the road. Could be a little bit of a tough matchup. So my thinking in my head is, I don't know. I would like to list him. Let's say he doesn't do as well in a tough matchup. Maybe I can rebuy him for a little bit cheaper, or maybe I wait because he does have some really nice fixtures. That's the only thing that's kind of keeping me up. The other kind of instance, I would sell after the Fulham match. Then he has that Man City, because I really want to get that utility out of Wolves, not terrible, Forest on the road, West Ham on the road, and then Fulham. You know, I think that's a really good matchup. I'm not telling you to buy in at this price. I'm kind of telling you that I might be selling at this price. But he is a guy that you got to take a look at, and you know, his rare only 1.15. That's not horrible in terms of comparing it to his limited either. Next guy high end is William Salaba, and he started for Arsenal. He looked great. Arsenal is a trendy pick this year. They look pretty solid. Down the stretch, they struggled a little bit, but they look solid. You don't want to have too much of a knee-jerk instance here. He's another under 23 guy, and he put up 62.4 and a full 90 minutes, and he had 27.4 of AA that game. I actually wanted to 28.3. So at the time of recording, it did bump up a little bit. So he played really well. You know, he should slide into that starting lineup. It was kind of, will he start right away in this Arsenal side? He is. You know, he's making his mark off with France as well in their central role at the back. So I was wondering if these scores would keep up. That's a, you know, not the best matchup. Palace at home, traveling to Palace, is not the easiest matchup in the world, and he did score very well. And it's a guy that, you know, he is on the high-end side, but, you know, 0.2 isn't terrible for a D. I am looking for an under 23 D to kind of bolster my squad, because I have Badiashile for Monaco, and he's been injured, and, you know, I'm playing a kind of suboptimal lineup without him, and I had Mbappe in there as well, so you know how that went last week. I just want to state that I don't think we should have a rolling lock or anything. It should be before. That kind of thing has to happen. As one of the people that played Mbappe, hey, it sucks, but that's part of the game. I don't want to see that taken out of because it shouldn't be. I don't know. That's a topic for another video, but I did want to touch on that. DNPs happen. You can't really avoid some of them. If I would have read more news, maybe I wouldn't have played him. I would have played him either way. So, all right. Next up, we're gonna go down to the mid tier. So, Rodrigo Betancourt for Tottenham as well. He had a nice matchup against Southampton. He did have a yellow which dropped his score down, but 29.7 AA is nice. 64.7. At the end of last season, he had 186. So really solid after coming over from Juventus, and he's another guy that at his price, that's a little bit cheaper at the limited. It's still pretty expensive for a limited card, but 0.125, not horrible, and a team that I really like and I really think has a high upside this season. There's a lot to like about this squad. So that's a guy that I don't own, but I might be owning soon, especially if you take a look at his rare. 0.52, that is not horrible. Especially, I don't play under 23 rare, so he's on my watch list of guys that I'm speculating buys, but my number one thing is going for a keeper, so I'm not getting after him. Next mid tier, Moises Caicedo for Brighton. Brighton, Man United being Man United as of late. He put up a 70 this past game week with 35.4 AA, which is great to see. On the road at Man United, and they conceded, so it wasn't even a clean sheet built into there. If you take a look at some of his scores, a 96 and 86, some really nice scores, and he is only 20 years old, and he has that under 23 utility through 2026. So at 0.108 as a midfielder, that is not terrible at all. If you take a look at his, over his last year, 50.1 average, pretty solid, and a guy that, let's tick some of these off. 51.2 in starts, so I was assuming that'd be a little bit higher. He doesn't get a lot of decisive to goal here and assist here, but goals back to back. I like him. I am not. He's another guy that's. All these guys are in my watch list, but not guys that I'm pulling the trigger on right away. But another guy I like, and after that week one, seeing him in the starting lineup was good. We'll see what Brighton's like without Cucurella, and we'll move on to our next guy. So our last in the mid-tier, another under 23 for Aston Villa, Bukayo Kamara. So he is 0.07, and if we take a look, a nice 52 average. I want to touch on because they lost 2-0. They played terrible, but I wanted to kind of include him as a mid-tier option. He does play in the France squad, as you can see by the start here and the start here, 65 there, but take a look at Marseille last year. You're not going to see the same scores, and this might be a guy that you wait for his price to kind of go down a little bit. But at Marseille, he has some really, really nice scores. If you just take a look at those, a lot of greens, the 100 here, 77, 76. While S&V is not as good, they're going to have some good matchups throughout the season. And, maybe not 0.07 at the time, and I'm sure if you owned him before, that was a terrible move. But that's a guy that, might be on the up and up in good matchups. I don't see, this stretch. If you play FPL, you kind of know the matchups, and this stretch, Everton's not a horrible matchup at home. But I would probably wait until out here, and then you could get maybe some utility here. So that Southampton match might be a game week that you take a look at them. And my last guy is for my team that I'm rooting for this year, Leeds United. So they came out hot. Brendan Aronson, he played. He celebrated an own goal really hard, but they got the win. I don't know why. I like an underdog story. I like Leeds getting back to what they were way back when. In my this year's FM save, Leeds United were my team. So I don't know. It's kind of, I'm rooting for them. They have a lot of Americans in the lineup as well. So that's another thing to go at. So Mark Rocca, he is 25 years old. Midfielder card, he is 0.0176. So this is my value tier. He had a 53 in 73 minutes for Leeds in that starting role. 18 AA. He did not get much game time at Bayern. That wasn't a great transfer for him. He played at times, but you take a look, he just didn't play much. I really think that his price, this might be a guy that his price goes up due to playing and being in the EPL. And the big thing is, take a look at this L15. He can be a specialist guy. I don't see the upside of something insane, but I can see a lot better numbers and a guy that maybe if you're looking for a guy that can be in that specialist lineup, he's not the worst one to go at. In a Leeds team, if you're looking matchup based, at Southampton might be all right. Home Everton, home Forest, at Brentford, at Brighton, and then home at Chelsea. Not the worst fixtures ahead. Could be a guy that, you plug in specialist lineups, and then that L15 turns into, he can only play underdog because he's maybe a 40 or he brings that up. So that's a guy that I think if you get in now, I might be, I'm saving right now. It's so hard not to buy players whenever you have any ETH in your balance, but, I'm telling myself, don't do it. But that might be a guy that his value does go up whenever he starts getting game time, and especially when people say, oh, he's a starter now, he's not a reserve in that tag, and especially people that don't watch the Prem from other countries and things like that. So those are 6 guys, I believe 6, yes, 6 guys from the EPL that maybe take a look at. I'm not saying buy all these. This is never financial advice. And again, thanks for watching. You guys are the best. Comment below if you have any other guys that you're looking at the EPL. I watch the EPL probably more than any other league. In the US, it's just easier kind of get to access that. We have Peacock streaming, and it's on TV. So this is kind of the league that I pay attention to the most. But with Sorare, I'm paying attention to all leagues. So like this video and subscribe. Remember, at 250 subscribers, we'll do a nice giveaway, and that is coming right up around the corner. I appreciate all of the help with my content, and we'll see you next time. See ya.